Will we ever see Oni Lloyd again? What is going on, Dork Squad? So the 15th anniversary of Ninjago is approaching us very, very quickly, and to celebrate, I have something extremely special for you guys. But first, I'm gonna need you all to hit that subscribe button and let me know how excited you are for the 15th anniversary down below. Let's get into it. Everyone, welcome to the channel. Sam Vincent, the voice of the legendary Green Ninja Master Lloyd Garmadork. Sam, thank you for joining us today here on the channel. I'm so excited. I've got a lot of questions to ask you, some stuff that my viewers have to ask you, a mix of my own questions as well. Firstly, I want to say I love your portrayal of Lloyd. I remember all the way back, I think it was San Diego Comic-Con in 2018, when they first dropped the little clip of the opening scene of Sons of Garmadork, and I was like, I know everyone else was like, oh my god, they changed the designs, they did this. I was like, we're getting a new Lloyd. The suits look amazing. The animation looks stellar. I've loved your Lloyd ever since Sons of Garmadork. So my first question is, what was it like stepping into the studio for the first time to voice Lloyd Garmadork, and how was some of that audition process as well?
Okay, we'll back up even before that.
Okay.
And originally, I missed out on the initial auditions for... Oh, by the way, hey everybody, Lloyd Garmadork, Green Ninja here. How are you? Ninja never quit. Never quit on Garmadork TV, okay? Always keep watching him. So, basically, I was gone out of country. I was on holidays, and I couldn't audition for the original Ninjago.
Really? You
I
had the
missed
audition
out.
all the way back in 2011.
Yeah, I missed out on
crazy.
that, and the show was going on, you know, and then finally season 8 rolled around, and they said they're changing the voice of Lloyd. They're making him slightly older. They want to go with a different actor for Lloyd as a adolescent teenager. And I said, well, that's what I do. So put me in, coach. And the thing was too is that the note was that they really wanted it to be more like kind of grounded in reality. And I did my initial audition, and I got a call back and a note saying just even make it even more like they really wanted, and I understood why they wanted it after when I got into the studio and I was doing it. They wanted to just really make Lloyd more grounded, not too cartoony, just really kind of feel like really real. So I kind of just toned down my performance a bit, and I got the part. And that first recording was awesome because I knew everybody in there pretty much from previous recordings, and everybody who was playing all these parts already, I knew them from before. So I didn't go into like a hostile environment where I was like, who's this guy? You know, it was more, and even the Hagman brothers who were there, the writers at the time, they were very, very supportive and encouraging, and you know, I kept getting the thumbs up because, you know, when you go in and replace or start, you know, a character, it's kind of like, you know, you're not sure. You're never sure. So I was getting a lot of positive feedback, and I was working also with Britt McKillop, who was playing Harumi. And I knew Britt from way back in the day. First time I worked with her was on Baby Looney Tunes when she was just little. And so... yeah, it was great to be able to do all my stuff with Britt because we already had, you know, previous friendship, and we knew each other. And it was just, yeah, it was fun. It was all those firsts, you know, my first Ninjago,
Yes.
you know, getting that down. I actually told and actually before I even auditioned, or maybe not but as soon as I auditioned and got the part, I went back and watched all the first 7 seasons just to, you know, get myself, you know, learn the whole journey of Lloyd and all the awesome stuff that Jillian had done with the character, and watch Jillian's journey with Lloyd, you know, from a bratty young kid all the way up to becoming the Green Ninja and all that stuff, where all of a sudden he goes away and then he comes back and he's this, you know, guy with, you know, your voice has changed.
Your voice.
Lower. Which was that was funny. Yeah, that was kind of funny. So, and also you talking about that moment in San Diego Comic Con. They showed us the footage and the audience reaction too. Like they filmed it because I think they went down there and we saw the audience reacting to the new trailer or whatever, and that was kind of cool to see everybody kind of get excited for the way the show looked and everything. And I, based on this, my answers are way too long for, but that, so there's question number one
Okay.
done.
That's
It only took
perfect.
me 50 minutes.
Slight extra question on there. From what it sounds like, definitely not the case, but I did think I'd ask for anyone wondering, did the movie, the performance of Dave Franco, have anything to do... was it Dave Franco? No, it was not Dave Franco.
It's not Dave Franco? Might have been. I don't know. But yeah, okay, go
Editing
on.
me, put it up right here who voiced Lloyd in the movie, I forgot. But did that have any influence on your performance, or was that not the case at all?
Well, I'd already started recording the show when I heard about the movie, and honestly, I feel like they're two completely different animals. If you look at the way the Ninjago movie was, and I went and saw it, I liked it, but you also saw that it was trying to be its own thing, too. It's like they went with like more like marquee names, and the whole vibe and the comedy and the humor was different.
It was more inspired by
Yeah, it
Ninjago
wasn't.
rather than just a straight adaptation.
Yeah, it was its own thing. And
Yeah.
I understand why they went that way, because when you get to the big, obviously the hardcore Ninjago fans wanted to stick to more of what was going on with the show. But I always think that whenever there's a movie, it's always going to be different. They're always going to do something different. They're looking at they just think differently with what they're trying to do. The only time that I didn't see that happen was when it was My Little Pony and they did the My Little Pony movie. They hired all the original actors, and it really did stick to the show. It was just a bigger scale, and I feel like in Ninjago they were going with a different storyline, and the whole thing was its own separate
Yeah, it
thing.
was connected to the live action Lego movies, so
Yeah,
they couldn't. I think it was announced originally to be like a canon movie, and then at some point they were like, okay, the Lego movie's doing great. Let's just throw it in with that. But the second question I have for you is, do you have a highlight moment since voicing Lloyd, either in the original series or Dragons Rising?
well, there's a lot of good stuff in there. I mean, I, Sons of Garmadon is one of my favorite seasons just because it was my first, and there was a lot of cool stuff that happened, like the whole journey with Harumi and the betrayal, and our battle at the end there. One of my favorites sticks out, just personal Lloyd stuff, is Lloyd going Oni for about like maybe 5 seconds, but he didn't go. I thought at
Oh
least
man.
like he didn't. I bet he didn't go. He went Oni, but he didn't stay there for very long, which is fine. But that was pretty cool.
it hurt it hurt even more maybe from the fan base because we had all these trailers with Garmadon being like, you gotta power your Oni set. We're all like, oh
yeah,
my god, Oni Lloyd's coming, we got this awesome figure.
yeah,
And then the 5 seconds was so heartbreaking.
yeah. I was like, okay, I was Oni for about 5 seconds, and then it was good enough to get the little figure. Okay, I said I bought that set because the Oni it looks so awesome, and I just got a gift from somebody. It's Ninjago cards from the card game, and well, I don't know if it's kind of exclusive, but it's Lloyd and Daddy in Oni form on the card.
Oh,
So
that's
I'm
awesome.
I'm gonna get Mark to sign it, and I'll sign it and have this nice little cool little
That's beautiful.
Daddy and son being Oni together.
You got to post that on your story. I think you posted getting the cards on your story. I remember
Yes, I
seeing that.
did. I
Yeah.
did get that, and then I was like, and then I want to do a Roy Orbison song, if you know, "Only the Oni." Ba, 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 na. There's my old school.
That was a question someone had because they had pointed out that you were a great singer and they were wondering if you would ever sing any songs in Lloyd's voice ever.
Well, I've already done. There's a big Ninjago fan, um, and I'm gonna do a collaboration. They've written a song I'm gonna sing in as Lloyd. And so I'm gonna get your name wrong, but I think on IG they go as Sote, Sote, Sote. and they love to write music, and um, they've written a song, and I hope to sing. And it's all about the anguish of Lloyd. You know, it's kind of melodic and painful and all that stuff. You know, Lloyd and angst. So that should be fun.
Awesome. If you send me
I
your
want to
account,
do "It's Not Easy Being Green." You know that "It's Not Easy Being Green" song by have you ever heard Kermit the Frog version of it?
I maybe in high
You're
school.
too young. It doesn't matter. But there's a Kermit the Frog goes, "It's not easy being green." But anyways, I thought Lloyd would rock that song very well.
Good impression.
Yeah. Yeah. So and then as far as Drago's Rising, the best Lloyd stuff is yet to come.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's hype because Lloyd's had some pretty cool moments. I think one of my favorite moments. I don't know if it was the soundtrack or what it was, but I'm really curious about this, and I was wondering if maybe you could drop any hints. Maybe you can't without spoiling anything, but
I don't know.
in Dragon's Rising Season 1, we see Lloyd make contact, and he has all these visions. He sees the graveyard of possibly the ninja, or so we see ninja masks there. Is that still going anywhere? The visions Lloyd has, and what is in store for Lloyd in the future of Dragon's Rising?
Look at you. You know I can't answer any of that.
It's okay. I just need that for the opening of the video.
All I can
Dramatic
say
opening.
is there's some epic stuff in store for all of them, but especially for Lloyd. Yeah.
I can't wait. I'm excited. So, when it comes to voicing Lloyd, do you have a specific process it takes you to get into the character or get into the voice, or you just
Not really.
Not really?
No, I mean I've been doing renditions of Lloyd as the young hero my whole career. So for me personally, it's like I'm using Lloyd. Lloyd Garmadork exists in a certain part of my voice, and he, you know, he's more soft spoken. He's the young hero voice. This is where he lives. Now I've done a lot of voices that are similar to this in other shows, like Arrow and on Stormhawks and Eli Shane and Slugterra. But for me, every young hero voice is different because they all have slightly different psychology. So for me, Lloyd has been probably the most, the less brash out of all of them, the most sensitive out of all those young heroes, the most thoughtful, considerate. He's not like, hey, come on, let's go do this, let's do that. He's like, he gets those places, but I would say he's probably the most psychologically thorough young hero voice I've done in terms of just the writing and his journey as a person. So he was always been well written, you know, like even before I took him on, his journey from where he was to where I, took up the helm and continued forward. He's had a great journey, and even within Dragon's Rising, he continues to evolve, right? You see that his character is becoming more of the master because Master Wu is not around to help. So he has to take on that responsibility of becoming a master himself, the uncertainty of all that stuff. And so it's just been one of the most thorough young hero voices I've done in my career. That's why I enjoy it. And also all the values that he has or he's learning to have. So, it's just good. It's just good acting. And I take a lot of guidance from the voice directors too, to keep me on track with who he is and the writers, to make sure that we stick to, and also how he evolves,
What is your favorite, if you've come across any, what is your favorite fan theory that you've come across for Lloyd or Dragon's Rising?
Fan theory? I haven't read too many fan theories.
Okay.
When you say fan theories, people are thinking they want to know what the merge is all about, what's actually ultimately going on.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of, because there's so much mystery in Dragon's Rising. I'd say some of the biggest ones in the community right now has to be, who is Raz's master? I'm a little crazy here. I'm thinking, everyone else is thinking it's the Source Dragon of a strength or something like that. I'm with the nut job theories. I'm thinking the Time Twins. I might be wrong there, but I feel like they're out there somewhere. We had the one short that kind of left it ambiguous to their fate, whether they're out there or not. We know Wu survived the whole scenario there. Also, speaking of Wu, is Wu dead or alive? That's I think the biggest mystery. I think in season 3 we learned that Cole thinks Wu's dead. Moro's fairly confident Wu's not alive. I think that's probably my biggest theory is I think Wu's dead, but he's like a spirit sort of. Like his spirit's still around. He didn't fully depart into whatever.
He's like a Ben Kenobi.
Yeah, something like that. That's my theory for what Wu is.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I say, I can't talk about any of that stuff about
yeah,
what
obviously.
the truth is. You know, when it comes to Roz belongs to a. I'll just say Roz belongs to a. Well, I guess we'll call it a race. Okay. So that's all I could say. Okay. If that gives anything. Roz isn't a one-off like some, weird tiger hybrid monster. Let's say Roz has a people. That's all I can say.
Okay, we definitely know. It seems like there is something building up. We've gotten flashbacks to, I think, his ancestors with the Forbidden Five at one point.
Yeah.
And Roz is a very exciting character for me because from what we know, the Realm of the Wildness is technically Chima. So it makes Roz kind of like a Chima character, which I feel like opens the door for maybe one day we'll see a character, another crossover with Chima and Ninjago. I think that would you like to see that? Another, I know Chima's like a dead.
Would Lego like to see that?
I think Lego would like to.
Any of the older IPs, bring them back from the dead and rise them up and. Get them back out there. I'm sure they'd love that.
The merge is a smart way to do it. Just throw every Lego IP as part of the realms.
Ultimate Battle Royale. Every IP comes out. Chima, Ninjago. Get them all. I don't know. Yeah, could be interesting.
So season 3 of Dragons Rising raises the stakes in quite a massive way. There's insane amounts of fight scenes. What was it like reading the script for the first time in part 1, especially that last episode where you're facing off against Thunderfang, which I think is one of the craziest villains we've gotten in Ninjago to date, with some of the best action in the series?
Well, when I go back and watch all the action sequences of the different things that the team has gone through, it almost feels like they have to up the stakes every time to get even more, like, just to make it that keep the fans involved and up the ante every time. So it feels like they just keep on doing that, and it's fun. And I love all the the dragons have definitely changed from previous seasons, the way the dragons used to be designed and looked, from before. I mean, I kind of liked it, but I really like the way the dragons are now in terms of just their design and the story behind their power and all that stuff. So I think it's epic.
We've got some pretty cool dragons. I will agree. I guess, what is your favorite villain is one question I wanted to know that Lloyd has either fought previously or that you got to face off against yourself.
That's a good question. I mean, I still my ultimate showdown with Garmadork was still at the end of Crystallized was still kind of way up there. I really like, not that I've really fought Roz directly, but I really like Roz as a villain. I think he's just, I love his design, and then also well, there's so many. That's hard to say. I also liked just because it was one of her last roles. Pauline Newstone played the villain, the head. I can't remember her name right now. The snake that Asphira, thank you. Asphira was fun. And Pauline unfortunately passed away last year, and that was one of the last times I got to work with her in the studio. But she had such a great. Oh, I mean, Asphere, the voice continued on through. I believe it was Kathleen Barr, but when Pauline was in the studio working with us, that was great, and she had such a great texture to her voice. But I mean, I love the Forbidden Five too, just as a collective. They look so cool.
The Forbidden Five are
they're
awesome.
they're really freaky looking.
My favorite design is Kerr, how she's like almost a mix of a zombie, a mummy, and like a wolf. I'm a huge zombie fan ever since I was a kid. So as soon as I saw the trailers and was like, she can like turn people into zombies or decay them. I was like, this is the greatest Forbidden Five member, if not the greatest Ninjago villain of all time. Yeah, she only did like one thing in the season, but coolest character, coolest design. Although I also think Noct is a really cool character. I feel like he's going out to fight every single ninja and arguably win.
Yeah, well, they definitely got those kind of the ring wraith vibes. You know, they're just dark and they look creepy as heck, and you know, they're pretty badass. And the thing is they're not. But that's the thing is you get a bit of them, but not so much. Like that's the thing they kind of tease you with the Forbidden Five. They give you just enough, and you want to see more of what they're gonna do too. So it's very cool.
I love the Forbidden Five. Was there any scene when recording the show that you just couldn't get right, or you struggled with, or you had to get multiple takes in there?
Well, I mean, usually, most of the time, it takes at least 2 or 3 tries to get it exactly right with certain things. I'm trying to think if there's anything that was especially challenging. I think that trying to get the when Lloyd was having the visions of the blood moon and things like that, trying to capture that kind of panic and also if he's sleeping, waking up and having that vision and the being horrified, and trying to keep it like intense but not over the top. It's like there's always that struggle to try and find the right balance between not going too far with it, and trying to keep it intense but not like over the top. So things like that can be challenging. No, I mean that's the thing is like there's been some moments where Lloyd has to be really like emotive and sincere and upset and all that stuff, and that's always a great challenge to do, like especially with all the Harumi stuff and also with his dad too. Just the frustration that he had with Garmadon in those kind of comical moments too, is with him and his dad trying to bond with his dad, and his dad just doesn't get it. He's clued out, and he's got a plant, and he's like, I'm taking care of a plant. I'm learning to connect. I'm like, plants aren't humans! Okay? They're not humans! Oh, man. No, you know what? You don't get it. You don't get it. So.
This is asked specifically as I word. This is asked by a couple of my close friends on Instagram. I put this up a couple months or weeks ago, whenever we confirmed this. But a lot of people want to know, what is the favorite role you have voiced? And specifically, my friend said, and why was it in Sausage Party?
My favorite role that I ever did was Rope of Licorice.
You heard it here first, Dork Squad.
Yeah, Rope of Licorice, and I think you know why it was my favorite. Okay, we don't have to go into details. You go watch Sausage Party, and then you'll know why Rope of Licorice was my favorite part. And second is can of beans or refried beans. Second.
So we got can of beans and
licorice.
Rope of
and was
licorice.
that red licorice or black licorice? You go and you decide, because I can't remember.
I'll have to go rewatch that tonight and point it out. I'll put it up here.
Yeah, we went when that first came out. We went to the theaters. We all had to go watch it because there was a bunch of us from Vancouver who did like all the secondary food stuffs, and there was a whole scene there that was very interesting. And
Sausage Party was a.
and
It's
that's
an interesting movie.
yeah, and not all of it made it into the movie. So the outtakes, I'm sure, were pretty like intense. So
I would love to see those. Speaking of voice acting and the studio, for a lot of my audience, including myself, are aspiring voice actors. We, for one reason or another, want to voice in these silly little cartoons that we love so much. So, I know this is a question everyone asks every voice actor. So I'm gonna have to be a little cheesy here. If you had to give any advice for those who want to get into voiceover, what recommendations would you give to start out?
you got to take out all the voice actors that are currently working, one at a time. I don't know how. No,
Okay.
that's a start.
Okay. All right.
No,
Can we write that
yeah,
down, please? Thank
take
you.
them all out. You
All
know,
right. Give me a list of all the names,
get
excluding
your
him.
little list.
He gave us the advice, so.
Yeah, I'm not
Go
telling you where I live. First of all, I work in my home studio now, so I don't even leave the house anymore because I know they're out there. They're trying to get me, man. They're trying to get me, man.
He's too good. He's too good.
See, this is the thing. A lot of people, when I was in acting, when I started out in high school, I was doing theater and just just a regular actor guy, doing what I like to do, improv, and then I was just fortunate enough that during my age, there was the industry in Vancouver was starting to develop film industry, television film industry, and I had a couple friends who were already working and got in touch with an agent very early, like 15. I had an agent at the age of 15, and I kind of got into the industry early and started working, and then started auditioning for voice stuff, which I had no idea that you could even do. I didn't know that was a thing, and then it kind of just snowballed, and then 35 years later, you're going, oh gosh, I had a career in voice, and so I feel like the way it is now is like I never dreamed of like I wanted like as a kid I was like I want to be a voice actor when I grow up. I want to do cartoons. I mean, I watched a lot of cartoons. I loved cartoons, but I never thought that was going to be my career. So I
I
feel like
watched The Lord of the Rings when I was a kid, and I didn't know at first how movies were shot. So I was like, I'm gonna go on an adventure. The only explanation was I thought that there was a guy with a camera just following everyone around, and everyone in the movie respected even the villains. They respected the guy with the camera because he was just doing his job, and I wanted to be in that. And then I saw the behind the scenes of The Lord of the Rings. I was disappointed because that means I couldn't go fight monsters and ride on dragons. But I discovered that filmmaking and everything was a whole thing, so I wanted to be an actor since then, and then at some point I discovered what voice acting was as well. So for me it was one of those things I always wanted to do, but I as well as be a YouTuber as well.
yeah, well the thing is I think now the whole landscape is completely changed. I think there's a bunch of us voice actors who started out doing voice acting, traditional ways, go to the audition, get the part, do the show, yada yada. But the whole landscape's changed now. Like there's a lot and a lot of us now are doing conventions, and that's kind of where we're at in our career too. Is like we're working less, but people are acknowledging us for our previous work and they want to meet us. So I'll say this: that there's a lot of young people out there in the voice acting game who are not coming traditionally from like they've loved voice acting, they've been obsessed with it, and they practice a lot, and they've done tons of stuff, and they have their own YouTube channel or their own Instagram channel where they're showing off their abilities and stuff, and they're doing other content, and they build a huge followership, and like maybe they have 100,000 followers, and it's just based on them loving voice work and doing stuff that entertains people. And I think those people are on the radar just as much as traditional voice actors, because now companies look at those things. They look at analytics of how many followers does this person have. A guy who may have 200,000 followers but doesn't have a huge resume might get a shot at something, and you got to be talented and you got to have ability over somebody who might have been in the business for 20,000 or 20,000 or 20 years and you know, and doesn't have as many followers, because that's kind of what is going on now. Like, there's a lot of people that are generating work for themselves independently, or getting noticed by, you know, studios and animators, and creating their mark. So I think you just gotta, if you're really passionate about it, just keep working on your voices, keep practicing, show what you can do, be creative, you know, start your own Instagram channel and start showing your voices off to people, and gaining a following, and be interesting, be funny, be entertaining, be creative, and start there, you know, because the traditional route of, you know, eventually I guess you do have to get an agent, and you have to, you know, have a demo tape that attracts an agent, and that agent is going to be able to get you auditions and stuff. But there's just way more avenues to get yourself out there and to be seen by people, whether it's a TikTok video or an Instagram video or YouTube, and just be consistent with it. You can't be like, oh, I'm going to post one video in a month. I mean, you're not going to get anywhere like that, right? Consistency is kind of the way you have to do it, and, you know, continue to be passionate about it, and also, you know, work with people who maybe aren't voice people, but are animators, and they want to create content, and they don't have the access to the big voice actors, but you're really talented and you have a lot of ability. You say, hey, let's hook up. Like, you're doing a 1 minute little thing here. Can I be the voice in your thing? And you create content together, and hopefully get the likes and the views, and network that way too.
Speaking of that, I feel like this is a good moment to put this in here, that for anyone watching who does want to be a voice actor, there is a really good site out there for stuff exactly like that, called Casting Call Club, which is full of fan projects, indie games, and all that stuff. I got my first role on Casting Call Club as Demon Boy in a audio
Demon
podcast
Boy
drama. Oh yeah,
give me a sample. Give me a sample right now. I want your Demon Boy. Give it to me.
Demon Boy. It was a couple years ago, but I think.
So he's demon adolescent now.
Demon adolescent. I think. Oh man, what was it? I think it was something kind of raspy like this. Not.
Nice.
It was a little different. I think the best thing I can do. Have you ever seen the show The Last of Us?
Yes, a little. I watched the first season, but I haven't watched it lately.
So
Yeah.
so do you remember what the clickers sound like?
No, what do they sound like?
Okay, all right. This is, I think, the best kind of creature noise or something I can make. I've never done this.
You're doing it now, buddy. The pressure's on, man. I'm watching you.
No, I got this. All right, so let me take off my headset. Let me get into it. There's a little bit of a process I have. I gotta feel like a zombie. So.
Oh, dude, you gotta get into it, man, for sure.
I don't know if that's coming through the mic at all.
I got the first part, but I think the second
let me
part.
Let me go closer to it.
Get a little closer. I heard the first part.
There's like a.
It's a little voice click. It's hard to do it on that microphone, right?
Yeah, and
I like the beginning part. The beginning part. I know what you were doing there, and you got a little twitch going on too.
Yeah. I kind of do the. I don't know. They just do it in the game, and it kind of when I found it kind of does it, and I got to do like.
You got to physicalize it, yeah.
Do you have any monster voices? Speaking of those.
I'm always practicing weird stuff. I like to practice my throat. Sometimes it hurts. So I'm like. Or. You know, I would love to play like That's why I love Lord of the Rings. Because
What are you doing here? I'd love to eat some of that hobbit flesh, wouldn't you?
That is actually a peak impression right there. Like I immediately saw this scene in my head where he's looking over at Pippin and Merry right there.
Yeah, right. I loved all that.
A huge.
Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys. Shit.
I was luckily born with curly hair. Frodo, so I was always called Frodo growing up because I liked my hair just like Frodo. I even got I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, you got the ring.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll be your Sam Gamgee. You can be Frodo.
You'll be my Sam.
I'll be your Sam.
Sam, yeah. we've got to get the ring to Mordor, Sam.
Oh, I swear, sir, we're going to get to Mordor. We're going to throw that ring in, sir. Don't you worry about it. We'll be back in the Shire in no time. Eating strawberries. you know.
Awesome. That was awesome. This is the peak interview. So another, getting back over into Ninjago, another question I did have for you was, and this is a bit of a two-parter question.
Yeah.
Not that there's any bad season, but what is your least and most favorite season of Ninjago, whether it be in terms of recording it or just watching it back? Which one did you have the most fun with, or the least?
My favorite season will still be Sons of Garmadon, because it was my first, and that was a lot of fun. And then Crystallize has to be up there too. That whole season, Crystallize, really enjoyed. My least favorite was kind of that little short segment season that we had post, like, where everything's done and we're kind of like, we're all kind of sitting in. It was that segment before we went to the pyramid, and with Clutch Powers and fought Asphira.
Okay,
like,
season 11.
Yeah, season 11.
The fire chapter.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about that whole thing, but I mean, now I'm nitpicking, but
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of agree with you. Season 11 had me fall off a bit, but I think it also did release in the summer, and then once 12 and 13 came out, Prime Empire, Master of the Mountain,
yeah.
I caught back up. I'm like, it's okay.
That was a little, yeah.
It's okay. Master of the Mountain was absolute cinema.
Yeah.
And then I feel like it just kept going up from there.
Yeah, Prime Empire. Yeah, one that kicked back in. I love Prime Empire, and I love the Mountain one.
Do you have any scenes in season 3, part 1, that took you by surprise when you first read the script?
Oh, okay. Now it's gonna rack my brain. Season 3, of Dragons Rising, part 1, that took me by surprise. The fact that Sora couldn't make a decent pie. Come on, she's so smart.
She made such a bad pie. It helped Zane figure out where Aaron was.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything that took me by surprise. I don't know if there's any major, like, was there anything major development that you went, oh, because for me, I'm trying to think of one, but I in my brain, it's not popping to my brain like, oh, I didn't see that coming.
I think I would say Moro showing up if the sets.
Oh yeah, Moro came back.
Weren't a thing, because Moro was, man. Getting on a little bit of a tangent here, I was so upset when Lloyd, Frack, Sora, and I think Ryu were right outside the spectral lands. They were looking right at it. I think Lloyd was saying that they should go through there, and then Ryu was like, "No, we're gonna go over here," and then they went and they found Pixel. They went and they found the Forbidden Five, and then they fought Zarked, and then Pixel showed up. I was so excited to see the possibility of Lloyd and Moro meeting again, which I hope it happens at some point in season 3. Which brings me into a question of past characters Lloyd has interacted with. So think of it such as Pythor, like very very integral characters. Pythor, Harumi, Moro. Which would you like to record another scene with in the future of Dragons Rising? And how do you think Lloyd would react to seeing that character again?
Well, I mean, Moro is definitely a very cool character. It looks pretty. I like the design of Moro. But in terms of, I mean, I probably have to go with Harumi again, just because we've had. It almost feels like it needs a third. All great things come in threes, right? So who knows? Another showdown with Harumi. Not that I would expect Harumi to have changed any or to have, but
Okay. He
I know.
agrees.
To be honest with you, to be honest with you, if I had to pick, I'd rather see my dad come back again.
Garmadon.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know more than me, but from what we've seen from the comics, maybe I feel like my theory is that we're definitely not seeing Garmadon until whatever our crystallized / March of the Oni is for Dragons Rising. I've noticed a pattern. Garmadon will disappear for a bit, but he'll come back for the end game, happen in the original as well as the Wild Brain era. So that's my bold prediction that we will see Garmadon towards the end game. But speaking of Harumi, if or when Lloyd does come across Harumi in the merged lands, how do you think that first interaction between them would go? Because I personally don't think that Harumi is necessarily all good. I think she still has her beef with the ninja, so to speak. Taking away that it was the Overlord that kind of caused all this and had her turn. She still had problems with the ninjas, such as that they were, and to be fair, they weren't, but they didn't always take their job as seriously as they could have, especially when it comes to, say, the Great Devourer, as Zane and Jay are sliding around on the ice, just kind of having fun. So I definitely don't think, like a lot of people do, that Harumi is good now. I feel like she would still have some beef with Lloyd and the ninja if they ever met up again.
Yes. The thing is you have to ask. So whenever Harumi and Lloyd would meet, how would Lloyd be? Who is Lloyd at that point? Which you don't know. You only knew who Lloyd is right now. All right, so.
That's
And I
true.
can't say more than that, right?
Okay,
So it's like,
okay.
like that's what I'm saying is like, you're going on, assumptions that Lloyd's still going to be the same old Lloyd. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. Is Harumi going to be the same old Harumi? Maybe she is, maybe she isn't. So it's hard to say what that interaction would be like.
Okay, I'm liking little teases, I'm
I'm,
I'm
I'm
so
just trying to
excited.
say what ifs because I can't say anything. So I just say, well, you got to assume that this is that, and there are everybody's. But as you know, the show continues to like. I mean, did anybody think Jay was gonna be who he is right now?
Jay's plot, that's something that really excites me. Jay, when I was really young, Jay was one of my favorite ninjas. I kind of phased out of Jay a little bit during the after March of the Oni, when they had Jay go towards the more childish and immature side of him. But I'm really loving how they're doing Jay's storyline in Dragons Rising and kind of the slow plot of it all. Because Doc has already spoiled that, or I guess spoiled that the reflections are still canon that we saw in season 5. So we know where Jay is going to end off at some point. But getting there is really exciting, and that doesn't necessarily even mean that he gets his memories back, because he could just fall in love with Nia again, make friends with the ninja again without getting all of his memories back, and still end at that same place where we saw him in the future reflections. I would personally like to see a Skybound 2.0. I'm a big defender, a big person that we should get Nauticon back at some point. I feel like that was heavily teased in the Wild Brain era, with Clutch Powers always going around with the teapot. I would love to see Nauticon back. When Nia or Agragor was like, you can make one wish, I'll grant it at all, I was screaming at my screen to tell Nia to just wish for Jay's memories back. I don't know if it's that easy, but I feel like you could at least try.
Right. Well, I think Neo would have done that for sure. Yeah. Anyway, all that being said, the whole Jay journey gets even more interesting, and but like that's what you say is you can't predict any of this stuff when it comes up, but But I guess that's half the part is all the theories and trying to predict where it will go and the fun. And trying to get actors to slip up and say stuff they shouldn't. And I'm not gonna do it. I tell you right now, Chris, this ain't happening today.
None of my questions. Okay, maybe like one or two of them was intentional. I did have one question that was a bait question.
I knew you were in the mirror going, I can do this. I can get Sam to say something.
It was, since you're on to me, it was at one point. It was more of a meme question because I was watching other interviews with different celebrities and one specifically with Daco, who's a FNAF YouTuber, and he was interviewing Scott Cawthon, the creator, and there's this whole mystery about what's in this box that fans have wanted to know for years. So I was thinking I could slip in there at some point and get not necessarily get the answer, but get a nice intro for the video. Was will we ever see Oni Lloyd again for maybe 10 seconds next time?
See this?
No answer. No answer.
That's
I
my
tried, guys. I tried.
That's my poker face. Read that.
We're getting 20 seconds of Oni Lloyd. That's what I read, guys.
That was it. You got 20 seconds.
Season of
That was
Dragons
my
Rising,
Oni
20
Lloyd right there.
seconds of Oni Lloyd.
Oh, you want Oni Lloyd? I'll give it to you right now.
Let's go!
Go.
Ken,
Oni Lloyd. Oni Lloyd.
I would love to see Oni Lloyd back. Do you have a favorite set? Any chance?
I haven't shown you. I can kind of spin this camera around because I can't. I have to be kind of egocentric about my choices. So I picked kind of Lloyd ones that had Lloyd figures, and for the most part. But this is not Lloyd. This is just the Ninjago
City Gardens.
Legacy
Beautiful
City
set.
Gardens. My favorite might be. Ooh. Well, actually, it's the gold. It's the Lloyd's Golden Ultra Dragon, which I have.
Dragon?
Yeah, the Ultra Dragon. I have it. I don't even know if that's over there.
I see them. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, you got the Temple of Resurrection. That's awesome.
I got the Temple. I got a couple of the. Yeah, I've got his mech from the.
The Ice Chapter. I have that one as well.
Yeah, and then this one is a shout out to my buddy Mason who worked for Lego, and I bought the Temple of Celebrations off of him, which only Lego employers got.
I saw that on Marketplace, but it was back when I was insanely broke, and it was like $200. I wish I got that. It's a cool collector set for sure.
Yeah, and then I like this one too, the Crystal King. I think it's pretty dope.
That is a nice set.
And then the Dragonstone Shrine, and then I have a couple more over there from the most recent.
I saw my favorite set right there, which I actually have with me.
What?
The, Lloyd's car from Sons of Garmadon. I love that set.
That's a cool car.
It is such a beautiful set. And Lloyd's suit in Sons of Garmadon is one of my favorite suits of all time. It's absolutely stunning.
Yeah. I love the car, but I also love Ultraviolet with that motorcycle.
Yes.
That's why I picked that one too, because that looks so cool. So yeah, I've got a couple other sets in the other room because they didn't fit in here, but yeah, I kind of got to be selective. But every time I go, every season, I'm like, I got to at least get one or two pieces from every season. I don't have anything from season 3 yet, or do I? When did they come out? They came out around.
The first wave of sets came out January 1st.
No, mine's still still season 2 stuff. I haven't any season 3 stuff. I got Tournament City Temple, I think was, and the Market one. So I don't, and then I've got this combo vehicle one. That I think that's all season 2 stuff. So
yeah, the combat vehicle. I have a couple or. Not all of my sets. I have a lot of them in box right out of space, but I got a bunch of my sets on display back here. I even got this. When Lloyd was first revealed as the Green Ninja, I was in Sick Kids, so I was at the hospital in Toronto, so I wasn't able to go get the figure. and I was really, really depressed about it. Everyone, like, there was like this room where all the kids could like sit and hang out, and there was this one girl there, and I was just they're all playing like card games, and I'm just sitting there, I'm yapping about the Green Ninja, and how I think it's Lloyd, or I think at that point it was revealed it was Lloyd. I was talking about how it was Lloyd and how the spinners and all that were coming out, and then my dad comes that day, and he's like, oh, sorry, I couldn't get it for you, yada yada. I'm like, oh man. And then before he goes to leave, he just drops it, like he had like a little thing there, he just like dropped it out. He was like, oh, I dropped something, and I look, and I see this beautiful, beautiful green package. I've lost most of it, but I still have my like OG Green Ninja to this day. One of my favorite figures.
That's awesome. It's a good story. Yeah, you're Canadian, right?
Yeah, I am. I live just like outside of Toronto. That's one of the things I loved about Ninjago was before that I never really heard of like a lot of Canadian actors or Canadian voice actors or projects. Obviously, I always knew Ninjago was a thing, but I didn't know it was Canadian until I started getting into wanting to be a voice actor and all that. And then once I saw that, I really got into that, and it was awesome seeing all these Canadian voice actors, because it felt like I was like, oh wait a minute, Canadians can be actors. It was just something I didn't know too much of, but yeah, I am.
Okay, so now we're doing show and tell, but I'll show you this.
Right on.
Yeah. What's that? Because we're on the topic of Canadian voice actors, and then I see you're wearing an X-Men '97 shirt.
I am. I went to the premiere in Toronto.
Awesome.
Before you get to your thing, I'll show you. Sorry. I'll show you the back. They had the I don't know if you can see it there.
Oh, that's
like,
awesome.
A cool thing in the back, yeah.
So did you meet some of the voice actors?
No, there wasn't anyone there from X-Men, but I did meet a lot of talented voice actors that day. I met Troy Baker,
Troy Baker, yeah.
Alex Lee, Abby Trott, and man, I'm blanking on her name, but I was shaking. The voice of Ben Tennyson.
Okay.
It was another one of those characters I grew up with. Those were who I met at that time, but there was no one there from the show. But I'm praying.
What year were you born?
What year was I born? I was born 2003.
Okay, so one of the, because we're talking about Canadian voice actors, and obviously you probably know now that one of the kind of cooler shows to come out of the Toronto voice acting scene back in the day was the original X-Men series from the 90s. I don't know if you knew that or not. But
I didn't know that.
No,
That's
yeah.
Awesome.
Go look up the original. That's my kind of one of my. Well, I was probably 20 or something at the time. But so the old X-Men show, okay, that basically X-Men 97 is kind of like this reignition of all that whole thing. One of the main actors on the show was Lenore Zann, who plays Rogue.
I see that. Yep.
Yeah, and I worked with Rogue on Lenore on another show called Stormhawks, where she was the lead villainess, and we worked on that together. And I hadn't seen her for years, but I was just down in at a con, Nostalgia Con, I think it was in Denver, and I knew she was going to be there, so I did a little fun scene with her. But this is what I brought with me to get signed by her, is because I collect all the X-Men figures from, like, I don't know if you can see up there. Those are all the 90s Toy Biz ones, right? So I wanted to get her to sign this one for me. And she's playing Rogue in X-Men 97, and she played Rogue in the original series too. So that was my little personal geek thing.
Awesome. I love the Rogue. So on my second channel, I guess another story time.
Yeah.
How I got into, I did a video talking about the new Spider-Man show that came out. I think I called it the greatest Disney Plus show ever made, something like that.
Right.
And everyone in the comments, watch X-Men 97, watch X-Men 97, watch X-Men 97. I was like, all right, it can't be that good. It's gonna be mid, is what I
Right.
thought. I watched it by episode 5. I was crying. I was tearing
Yeah.
up. It was really good. I'm so excited for the second season.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, well, like, I think it was only 10 episodes, so we started, I'm like, it's already over! What's going on? But, you know, they put a lot of work into it, so I can understand why they just did 10.
That's how we Ninjago fans feel when a season comes out. We get to the end 4 hours later.
When is the second half of the season 3 coming out? You probably know better than I would.
That's a question we would all like to know.
Oh, okay. So you don't know.
I don't know if you know, they had a very unfortunate, as happens with every season, tradition, leak situation with part 2. They leaked it, Lego themselves, all on Roku TV.
I heard
And
about
I
that.
think in China.
I don't know a lot about it on Roku TV. It all got
Roku
leaked.
TV in like China or some other country, which I feel like
Which language was it leaked in?
it was leaked. And it's crazy. It was leaked a week after part 1 had aired, and it was the entire season, but the last 2 episodes, all in English, all in full HD.
Oh, wow.
It really sucked because we were going on such a high of part 1.
Yeah.
And it just feels like
Did you contain yourself or did you watch them?
I
It's time to get honest now.
I don't tell people that they should watch the leaks. I don't condone. I don't share the leaks.
I'm not gonna judge you, man.
But
I don't care.
for review purposes, because this gives me a chance to be like months ahead on actually editing the video. I did watch them. They were phenomenal. So good. I'm so excited for the last 2 episodes. We don't know what happens
All the people
there.
who didn't get a chance to watch the leaks just hate you right now.
The part 2 is peak cinema. I arguably better than part 1. I really liked it. The suits are great. I'm excited for the last 2 episodes. But yeah, it was a really unfortunate situation. I guess one thing a lot of fans do wonder is we know how it happens a lot from the writer's point of view because they're really active and talk about Ninjago on Twitter. But as a voice in the show, how does it feel when we do get huge leaks like this?
Well, I mean, obviously it's not good for the company. I mean, it's not good for their bottom line. But, you know, at the same time though, the bottom line is, are the fans excited? You know, even if they're not getting the content the way it should be coming out, are they still, you know, I hate to be that, sounds super corporate right now, but do they still go out and buy the sets? Do toy sales still stay the same? Do they go up? You know, that's the bottom line, honestly, in the corporate world. Aside from ruining the spoilers of the storyline, if it's not hurting the bottom line, then I don't know if it's the hugest issue in the world. But you know, I always think that there's something to be said for delay of gratification. It's something that psychologically is a good thing to have for your own personal development as a human being. And I think we live in an age where it's not practiced very much anymore.
I've always
I want it now.
Yeah, I've always wanted it now.
And if you can't delay gratification on anything, I don't think it bodes well for you as a person in this world, to be honest. But that's just me. That's just my old-time philosophy, being an old person talking about, you know,
If there's
old-timey stuff.
There's one thing. There's one. I don't know if I want to say good, but there's one thing that is better about the Ninjago community when it comes to leaks that I really do like about it, though, is we all kind of have this rule where if you do ever watch the leaks, you have no matter what, you gotta rewatch it as soon as it drops on Netflix or on YouTube.
Right.
Like today alone, I've watched Legends like 5 times. It was so good. Have you gotten a chance to see the new Legends short that came out today?
No.
No, it's phenomenal. I highly recommend it.
Okay.
It's pretty peak. If would you like to see a Legends short for Lloyd? By the way, would you be interested in doing that? Where they're more of like these I guess the word is more mature little. It was a more mature Ninjago short focused on Kai in the realm of monsters, and it had this like anime-esque kind of art style to it.
To be honest, I would be grateful for any employment at the moment. So yes, I would be interested in that. Go make it happen.
I will go email Lego right now.
Go call the uppers.
Sam
about
Vincent and me want a Lloyd Legends special.
Yes,
and
please.
we want it now, please.
I want it all. I want it all, and I want it now. Yeah, that'd be fun.
The 15th anniversary of Ninjago is coming up in just a couple months. How do you feel that the franchise has gone on this long, and did you expect to be voicing Lloyd for all these episodes and all these seasons?
No. I'm always surprised when something keeps going. I'm always, because it, like I've done a lot of different shows, and this one's probably had the most longevity out of all the ones I've done. I mean, Ed and Eddie went pretty long, but in terms of longevity, it's got to be up there for sure. So I'm very grateful for that. I understand why though it has longevity, because they've done a great job with growing with the base, the demographic, like, understanding that they took a lot of people who, it was pure like kid driven stuff, like when everybody was watching it and they were young and they loved the sets and they loved the ninja, and it was just like people are fanatic about it. And I guess there's always those conversations that you have. How do we keep growing this IP and this thing into these young people who have grown up with it into the teenage years, and still not kind of like still keep them on board, but also bring in new kids at the same time? Like, that's a tricky thing to do, right? How do you find that balance between not
aging it up too much?
Yeah, ostracizing your people that have been with you all along, and then keeping the kids coming in, but also changing with the demographic. I think they did a good job. I mean, I know there's a lot of people when Lloyd changed, the old school. This ain't my Ninjago, no sir. There, and I understand that there was a lot of people who didn't like it because that was not what they grew up with. But there's always the other side too, where there was a lot of people who came on board Ninjago during like Sons of Garmadon, who maybe weren't Ninjago fans, and then they got into it because they were, maybe the relationship dynamics between Lloyd and Harumi brought them into the show, and they weren't like the old school, the kids who grew up with it, playing with the toys, but then they got on board. So I think overall they found a way to find that balance. You can't please everybody. That's just the way it is in this world. So they've managed to just keep that thing going. And I've met a lot of people who, they enjoy what I've brought to Lloyd, and they're also loved Ninjago from the very beginning too. So yeah, it's been great, the journey they've gone on, and then infusing Dragons Rising with new characters, because that's something you got to kind of do too, to everything, like I love all the new characters too. I think that they've managed to find something for everybody, whether it's going to be Aaron or Sora or Wildfire, who is my personal favorite.
Wait, Wildfire is your personal favorite?
Yeah.
Yo, so on my channel, I'm known
I love
as
them all, but I'm just saying Wildfire is the one.
I'm known as the Wildfire Glazer in the community. She's my goat, the greatest of all time. No one does it like her. She's on biz. As soon as she was introduced, when Lloyd was like, "Yo, it's dangerous over there," and Wildfire was like, I am the danger.
Yeah.
It was peak. She's one of my favorite characters in the show. So they speaking of, I guess, long time ago you brought them up, but the Higman brothers, they I believe I mentioned brain fart. In the cameo I sent you, I had brought it up, but there is a live action Ninjago movie in the works. I already asked you what advice you had for Lloyd and who you think should play him.
Oh yeah, right.
Who would you, if given the opportunity to appear in the movie, who would you like to play? A pre-established character, or would you just like to appear as yourself or as Garmadork?
No, I'd probably do something funny. I'd probably be like, what are one of the Crags or one of the rock people? I want to be the live action.
All right, get over here. Well,
You know, something. You know, I don't know who the heck I would play in a live action Ninjago. You know, I'd probably just want to do like I'll be one of the CG snakes or friggin' one of the skeleton dudes. You know, that would be fun. I would, because I personally I can't even remember. Did they actually announce who's been cast as?
No. All we've gotten is that they are working on the movie. My theory is that we're not going to hear anything until the 15th anniversary at the minimum, and then that's maybe when they'll be like, this is what's happening with the movie. If not, then I have no idea.
Yeah, okay.
I'm very excited for it. I think we just got the live action How to Train Your Dragon, which is by the same studio, and I was analyzing that movie like frame by frame, looking at all the CGI. I was taking notes. I'm like, how are they going to treat my beloved right. Ninjago?
Yeah, my only thing is like, and this is just, I guess this is my aesthetic preference. I would hope that when they cast it, they don't cast too old with the crew. I would really like to see if they could find some really strong actors who are, at least no older than 16. I just, that's the kind of vibe I personally don't want to see some 20-something dude playing the Ninjago guys and Nia. That's just my preference.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
In the
I'd like to really feel like they were adolescents. That's just me. And
I think that's a vibe I agree with. I would like for them to almost cast not necessarily completely unknown actors, but somewhat unknown. Make it feel like we're really seeing almost like how they did with Harry Potter. Like we're seeing this group form in real time with the actors. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And
well, yeah. Hopefully they'll do a good job of it.
Hopefully, we're all skeptical.
Well, everybody's skeptical about their, I know they're doing a new He-Man right now, and there's a lot of people going, I don't know, they're getting the on-set photos leaked, and they're like, people are kind of crossing their fingers, but it's just the way it is.
Last question.
Yes.
Can you teach us how to give a
noogie?
A resounding Ninjago.
Resounding. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Well, Ninja. It's like a car speeding up, right? You putting in the gears and stuff, so you want it first, second, third, fourth. You know what I mean? Like, and you want to it depends on how quickly you got to get into the battle, but if you want to go to 0 to 100 in 3 or 4 seconds, it's like Ninjago. Awesome. Or you could expand it more if you got a little more time to chill and just go Ninjago. Or if you're in a big hurry, you got to go Ninjago. Depends. It depends on the urgency of the situation. So take that in mind. kind of rank where it is, and then you just go. But you gotta let the go's gotta go. You know what I'm saying? You can't be like Ninjago. Ooh, that's bad. No, no, go, go, go. Ninjago.
Can we do one together?
Sure.
A big Ninjago. All right. I'll prepare for this.
I'm counting 3, so 1,
Okay.
2, 3, and then boom.
Okay. Do you want
You
to
ready?
count down? Yeah. All
I'll
right.
count it down for you.
All right.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Ninjago!
Go!
Awesome. Thank you, Sam, so much for joining us. I'm so excited to see what Lloyd has in store for Dragons Rising.
Let's do another interview later on. We'll talk, and then we'll get updated on all of it.
I absolutely I wanna pick your brain on stuff in part 2, and I'm sure that there's going to be some insane things in the finale and in the future. Is there anything you would like to say to the wonderful fans of Ninjago out there?
To all of you who have been watching from the very beginning, to the people who have just discovered maybe Ninjago from Ninjago Dragons Rising, and you're going back and watching the whole thing, thanks for keeping this thing going and supporting Ninjago. And everybody, I would say, from all the cast who watched, so this has been one of the best shows for all of us to work on for so many years, and we're hoping that even, you know, one day when it's all said and done, there's still going to be lots of great memories, and hopefully we'll be meeting you and maybe your kids, you know, at conventions and stuff, because I think it has that lasting legacy as a show, and we just appreciate all the support you give to all of us. And watch part 2 of season 3 of Ninjago Dragons Rising. It's gonna be awesome!